The Bluebird Cafe hummed with quiet energy that rainy Friday night. The rain lashed against its tall glass windows, blurring the glow of the street lamps outside. Inside, warm light flickered from amber sconces. Jazz played softly from hidden speakers, and couples leaned close over steaming mugs. But at the table by the window, a young woman sat very still, her posture both elegant and fragile. Serene checked her phone for the 5th time in 20 minutes. She smoothed her red dress, wishing it gave her confidence instead of feeling like armor she couldn't quite carry. Her stomach tightened with every passing second of silence. She had waited 45 minutes now. 45 minutes of hope stretched thin into humiliation. Finally, the man across from her leaned back and exhaled. His face was handsome enough, his suit pressed sharp, but his eyes flickered with something she recognized too well: disgust. The words fell from his mouth like a slap. "I didn't know you were actually handicapped." Serene froze. Her fingers tightened around the glass of water before her, her knuckles whitening as she tried to steady her breath. "I have moderate to severe hearing loss," she said softly, each word measured. "I wear hearing aids. I told you in my profile." Brandon scoffed. He leaned back, raising his fingers in mocking air quotes. "You said you had hearing difficulties. I thought you meant you sometimes needed things repeated. Not this. Not." His eyes landed on the small glint of her discreet hearing aids, and he let the word fall with deliberate cruelty. Handicap. The word hit like a physical blow. The cafe's murmur seemed to hush around her, the rain against the windows pounding in her chest. She wanted to melt into the chair, vanish into silence. At a booth just a few feet away, Wesley Thorne's jaw clenched so tightly he could feel his teeth ache. His 6-year-old daughter, Chloe, stopped coloring in her book, her crayon hovering above paper as she watched. "Daddy," Chloe signed quietly, small hands moving in worry. "Why is that man being mean to the pretty lady?" Wesley swallowed hard, anger pressing against his ribs. He signed back with slow, careful motions. "Some people don't understand, sweetheart. Some people are just unkind." But Brandon wasn't done. He pulled out his phone, scrolling as though Serene wasn't even worth the courtesy of eye contact. "Look," he said loudly, his tone bored, careless. "This is what I signed up for. Do you know how exhausting it would be, always repeating everything? Always making sure you can hear? My friends would never let me hear the end of it. Dating someone who can't even hear properly." Several diners turned their heads. Serene sat taller now, tears threatening but held back. "I'm a pediatric nurse," she said quietly, her voice steady. "I graduated with honors. I speak 3 languages. My hearing loss doesn't define my worth." Brandon scraped his chair back with an ugly screech and stood. "No offense," he sneered, "but I have standards. You should have been honest about being disabled." The word disabled hung in the air like poison. Something inside Wesley snapped. His body moved before his mind caught up. Rising smoothly, he crossed to Serene's table, not toward Brandon, but toward her. He positioned himself directly before her, his back to the man already walking away. And then his hands began to move. The signs were fluid, deliberate, graceful, as though he were shaping light itself. His face carried the emotion his voice didn't need. "You deserve better than someone who can't see your worth." Serene's breath caught. Her teary eyes widened in shock. This stranger, this man she had never seen before, was signing to her. In her language, the language Brandon had mocked just moments ago. Brandon paused at the door, his expression twisting. "Figures," he muttered. "Birds of feather. You two deserve each other." The door slammed behind him, leaving only the soft jazz and the sound of Serene's fragile breathing. When Wesley turned back, their eyes locked. She saw kindness there, kindness without pity, strength without judgment. He saw resilience in her, dignity even in pain. "May I?" he asked gently, gesturing toward the empty chair. Serene nodded. She couldn't find words yet, so she simply nodded. Wesley sat. Beside him appeared a small figure clutching a coloring book. Her brown hair framed her curious eyes, and tiny hearing aids glimmered beneath the cafe lights. "This is my daughter, Chloe," Wesley said, speaking aloud while his hands moved in sign as well. I'm sorry you had to go through that. Some people show their true colors quickly. He did you a favor by leaving. Serene's gaze softened as it fell on Chloe. The girl's hands moved shyly. Hi, you're pretty. That man was mean. Daddy says mean people are just scared of things they don't understand. Something inside Serene broke, and then healed. A small laugh escaped her lips, light and genuine, and she signed back. Thank you. You're pretty too. I love your rainbow shirt. Is that a dinosaur on it? Chloe's face lit with joy. It's a brachiosaurus. Want to see the sign for dinosaur? Her small hand shaped the sign with enthusiasm. Wesley watched the exchange, warmth rising in his chest. He hadn't seen his daughter connect as quickly with anyone since Angela, his late wife. The memory pricked his heart, but tonight it felt softer, less sharp. He remembered those nights after diagnosis, staying up late with clumsy hands, learning ASL from YouTube tutorials just to keep up with his daughter. What began as necessity had become their secret world, a world where words weren't needed for love to be understood. You signed beautifully, Serene told him, bringing him back. 3 years now, Wesley said, since Chloe's diagnosis. At first it felt like the end of the world, but then he glanced at his daughter proudly. It wasn't an ending, just a different beginning. Serene's eyes glistened. Most people don't see it that way. My ex certainly didn't. He said my hearing loss made everything too complicated. Chloe leaned forward suddenly, her little hands moving with solemn intensity. Can I tell you a secret? Sometimes, when it's really noisy, I turn my hearing aids off. Then it's quiet, like having a superpower. Daddy and I talk with our hands. And it feels like magic, our own language that not everyone knows. Wesley's throat tightened. Trust his daughter to find magic in silence. I know what you mean, Serene signed back, smiling. When I work with children in the hospital, I show them my hearing aids. I teach them signs. Suddenly, they're not so scared anymore. You're a nurse. Chloe signed, wide-eyed. That's like being a superhero. Serene laughed. For the first time that night, it was full and unguarded. Wesley felt something shift inside him at the sound. I almost didn't come tonight, she admitted. This was my first date in 2 years. I told myself excuses when he was late, when he was rude. I'm good at excusing people who don't deserve it. Wesley reached across the table. He didn't touch, just placed his hand palm up, an offer. We all do that, he said. But being with someone who makes you feel alone, that's worse than being alone. Serene looked at his hand, then placed hers atop it. Warm, steady. Daddy. Chloe signed with her free hand. Are you making a friend? Wesley smiled. I hope so, he signed back. The cafe slowly emptied as the night pressed on. Rain eased into a mist, and the glow of street lamps painted the wet pavement in gold. Yet at the corner booth, time felt suspended. Serene, Wesley, and Chloe lingered in an easy rhythm that felt as though it had been there all along, waiting for the three of them to discover it. They shared stories. Serene spoke of the children she cared for in the pediatric ward, her face softening as she described the bravery of kids fighting battles too big for their small bodies. Wesley told of late-night coding projects and the constant balancing act of work and single parenthood. Chloe interrupted often, sometimes with questions, sometimes just to show a new sign or a doodle from her coloring book. Each time, Wesley and Serene gave her their full attention, as if she were the most important person in the room. By the time the barista announced last call, Serene realized something startling. Her chest didn't feel heavy anymore. The humiliation Brandon had left her had dissolved, replaced by warmth she hadn't expected to find. Outside, the rain had slowed to a drizzle. Wesley walked her to the bus stop, Chloe skipping between them, splashing in puddles with gleeful disregard for her shoes. When the bus approached, Serene hesitated. She didn't want this night to end. Would you? Wesley paused, rubbing the back of his neck. His voice was low, almost uncertain. Would you like to have breakfast with us tomorrow? Chloe insists pancakes are better when you share them. Chloe nodded eagerly, signing with wide gestures. Please come. Daddy burns pancakes sometimes, but I put sprinkles on them so they're still good. Serene laughed, her heart lifting. She nodded. I'd love to. Breakfast. Morning sunlight spilled through Wesley's kitchen, catching the dust motes in golden streams. The scent of maple syrup and fresh batter filled the air. Serene sat at the counter, her hair loosely tied back, laughing as Chloe presented her with a plate decorated with whipped cream smiley faces. "Best chef in town," Wesley said, ruffling his daughter's hair. Chloe beamed and signed proudly. "I taught Daddy how to make them look fun. But you can't let him flip them alone. He makes pancake scrambled eggs." "Harsh critic," Wesley teased, but his smile betrayed his pride. Serene looked at them, father and daughter, and felt something she hadn't let herself feel in years. Belonging. She wasn't watching from outside the glass. She was part of the warmth. "Thank you for inviting me," she said softly. "It's been a long time since I felt this comfortable." Wesley met her eyes. "You belong here," he said simply. The words hung between them, heavy with meaning. Days into weeks. What began as a single breakfast turned into something neither of them had planned. They started meeting after Serene's shifts, sometimes for dinner, sometimes just a walk in the park. Wesley found himself looking forward to her laughter, the way she and Chloe slipped into conversation as if they'd known each other forever. For Chloe, Serene became both friend and mentor. She taught her new signs, told her stories from the hospital, and treated her not as a child to be protected, but as a person to be heard. For Wesley, Serene became a reminder that love didn't have to hurt, didn't have to feel like sacrifice. She carried her own scars, years of rejection, being overlooked, underestimated. But she carried them with grace. And for Serene, Wesley was proof that kindness wasn't weakness. He was strong, steady, a man who had built his life around love instead of pride. With him, she didn't feel like a burden. She felt seen. The proposal. It was a spring afternoon, almost a year later. They were back at the Bluebird Cafe, the same corner table where it all began. This time, the table was set with flowers Chloe had carefully arranged, her small hands sticky from ribbon and tape. Serene was laughing at something Chloe had said when Wesley stood, his hand trembling slightly. "Serene," he said, voice steady despite the storm in his chest. He signed the words as he spoke them. "That night, I thought I was stepping in to help you. But the truth is, you helped us. You gave Chloe someone to look up to, and you gave me hope I thought I'd buried with Angela. You've turned silence into music again. And I can't imagine a life without you." Chloe hopped down for a chair, holding out a small velvet box. "Daddy says this is a part where I'm supposed to help."